Hello and welcome to the Quiver channel. I'm Jason, your host. I decided to set up one of my small cameras to show Zaki because he's always part of the stream. He's always part of what we're doing because we're always being vocal. Just giving him one of his treats. I hope you're all okay. Life is challenging at the moment. And there's something I'm going to say now that, and the title of the video is going to be the same thing. I'm happy that Paola is dead. That might seem awful and that might seem just like something I shouldn't say. But let me put that in context. Paola was extremely ill. Her body was basically shutting down. Can you imagine her having to deal with COVID? She would have died. She would have died not being able to breathe. All of the problems that she faced, adding a COVID situation, a lack of resources situation, and that would be worse. Brexit would have affected her because getting the medication and the dialysis fluids and that had to come from outside the country, so it would have been harder. The funding might not have been there. She might have had to go into hospital for her dialysis, which would have given her more of a risk of getting COVID or some other disease. And then we've got to talk about the money situation. Because of the damage done to Paola's body, the house had to be at a constant temperature, both summer and winter. You've probably seen pictures of Paola on a wheelchair with layers upon layers of clothing. That isn't because it's winter. That's because whenever she went outside, she had to dress up really well. She'd have tights, she'd have socks on top of the tights, she'd have leggings, then she'd have whatever dress she was wearing. Up on top, she'd have multiple t-shirts, she'd have cardigans, she'd have a big coat with a fleecy hood, and so on. And her gloves, she had to usually have 2 pairs of gloves on, and so on. All so that her body didn't basically have problems. Because one of the problems was that if her body got cold, then circulation would stop to her hands and that, and they could die. They could go really bad. And so, with the way the cost of electricity, the cost of energy, the cost of gas has happened, and for disabled people, the way their money never stays on par with that, and the cost of food. Paola was on a very high calorie diet because she was in because her kidneys had failed and she was on dialysis. And dialysis, as well as getting rid of the toxins, because it's not as good as your actual body and as good as your kidneys, you have to have like 1,000, 2,000 calories more, and heavily based on nutrition. And it's got to be a diet that has all of the food groups and keeps them going. So our food budget for Paola was massive before I even came into the picture. What are you doing? You're a good boy, aren't you? Yeah, you're such a good boy. He's beautiful. Would you like another sweetie? You can have another sweetie. You've been very good. Go on. Sit. Good boy. There we are. Go here. He's decided to sit on the floor. Typical. I set up the camera to be able to thingy. Let me turn it down a bit. I don't think we'll be able to catch him. No. There. You can see his butt. So, yeah, the whole way the world's gone with hatred for disabled people. Even in 1998, when Paola started to get ill, she was being harassed by people. Why? Because she was a 21-year-old in a wheelchair taking one of the disabled bungalows, whereas everybody else who had one of those was in their 80s and 90s. These were assisted care bungalows that were set up specifically for people who were disabled, who were very, very ill. The council only had like 100 for the entire county. And so I would hate for her to have seen any more of that when she went outside. Paola was a very positive person. Paola was very much the life of the party. She always tried to make people smile, even though, and this was the crazy, she was dealing with so much pain herself, but she really tried to make sure that other people were having a good time. The world has changed so much. It's worse in so many ways since 2019. And no matter how much I miss her and still love her, I would not have wanted to deal with it. And I wouldn't want to have imagine, I can't even imagine Paola finding out that her most trusted person, the person who looked after my mum in this house here next door, was actually stealing all of my mum's money and selling all of her jewellery and destroying the house. That would have destroyed Paola, because she loved Trevor. She absolutely fucking adored him, and she had no idea of what he was doing behind the scenes. So there is many, many reasons why I still miss Paola, but I am so glad that she's not here to see all of this, to have to deal with that on top of her illness. Paola always had a reason to smile every single day, even with all her pain and suffering. And I don't think she would have been able to continue. I think it would have broke her. I think it would have killed her anyway. To see all the hatred, all the wars going on, all the pain and suffering. The world is a much darker place than it was. It's even more important that we look after our friends, look after those we care about. Hello, baby. You want to love, don't you? So it's really sad, but especially with the cost of living getting worse, inflation going up, people cutting corners on all of the disability stuff. How can... I'm lucky, I've got a place to live, I've got so much to be thankful for, even though I'm dealing with a lot of problems. But I would not want Paola to be here dealing with it. Where are you going? Where are you going? You can have another sweetie. You can have another sweetie. Sit. Sit. You have to sit before you get your sweetie. Take care of yourself, everyone, and remember, in this kind of situation, the best thing that you can do is look after those you care about. The big picture is getting darker. The world is becoming more dystopian. And somehow the small picture, doing what makes you feel right, looking after yourself, that matters even more. So take care of yourself. Bye bye for now.